It's 6 o'clock.
I'm not sick. All right, here we go. How you doing?
6 o'clock. I'm calling the March 12th meeting of the Harwich Finance Committee to order. We have, first I want to identify, as required by open meeting law, you are hereby informed that the town will be video and audio recording as well as live broadcasting this public meeting. In addition, anyone in the audience who intends to video or audio tape this meeting must notify the chair prior to the start of the meeting. I don't see anyone in the audience currently. I don't see anyone in the audience online. We will go ahead and start. We do have a couple of members of the committee online, so I will take a roll call of the members of the committee. First online, Scott?
Yeah, no, I'm here.
Dana?
I was first online, but I'm here as well.
Okay, around the table. Michelle?
Aye. Here.
Michelle Gallucci, here.
There.
Peter?
Peter Hughes here.
Mark Emmer's here.
Dan Schwark here.
Tina Games here.
And I am Robert McCready here also. First order of business is to approve the minutes from 3/5/26. I'm not sure if you all got them or not. There was, you got them.
I got.
I
Yeah.
got them.
People did get them, fine.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
okay. Any discussion on the minutes? Okay, seeing none, I'll take a vote. Again, starting with Scott. Scott, vote on the minutes.
Aye.
Dana?
Aye. Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Tina? And I am an aye. That is 3, 6, 7, 8. 0. Okay. So we'll go back to working on articles for town meeting. We did get some new articles. Also, the topic has been brought up about, as time gets short, about our going ahead and doing some and considering having a vote, even though we do not have the, I'll call them articles likely related to the capital plan and the miscellaneous and the various funding articles that presumably will come eventually, that we do in fact go ahead and have a vote on the plan. Let's take this consideration first. We'll come back to the articles we do have printed versions of in hand afterwards. Let's take that topic first, though. Does anyone have an issue with taking up, considering having a vote on the capital plan this evening, which we can, of course, amend and make changes to prior to town meeting, but to make sure that we are not, for one reason or another, caught short later with having had some point of view on the capital plan. Seeing none, I'm going to turn this topic over to Peter Hughes to engage the topic.
First and foremost, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I would move that we adopt the capital plan for FY 2027 through FY 2031. And the only thing that's different from the plan that's included in our books is on page 3, redo of town zoning maps is stricken, if I understand it correctly.
See if anyone else has a comment on that. It was also my understanding that and actually we have both of our capital
Yep.
outlay people here. It was my understanding that with the 2 new articles that were brought up and added, one of which was planning for transition to and adoption of form-based code, that finally when that was brought to the select board, what was brought to them and I believe voted on, please correct me if I'm wrong, was to delete the redo of the town's zoning maps article for $100,000 and replace it with the planning for transition to an adoption of form-based code for $125,000. Is that everyone, is that your understanding? Scott?
That's correct.
Michelle?
The select board voted on that, yes.
Okay, Michelle, you agree?
I wasn't aware of it, but I do agree.
Okay, so I believe that means we take $100,000 off the totals that we have.
So we have a motion and it's been seconded to adopt the capital plan.
Who seconded it?
I think it was Scott.
Dana did, I think.
I think, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Mr. Chairman, you would be the one to call for a vote, not me.
Okay, we have a motion to adopt, and that was,
Discussion?
hold on, that was, Peter, you had made the motion?
Yeah,
And
Dana seconded.
Okay,
Correct.
Peter and Dana. Okay, so we are open for discussion of, further discussion of the capital plan.
Dana had it.
Dana? Yes?
As this is Article C01, according to the wrap-up from the town administrator. They haven't numbered their articles yet, but we identified it as C01. It's a no cost article in terms of what is worded there. It's been worded the same for decades, so we're not really going out of bounds to adopt the capital plan. As I've said from the very, very beginning, most of this work was done by the interim town administrator, Tony Schiavi. And compared to the last 9 years that I know of, this has been the best capital plan that I have seen, and I wholeheartedly support it. This year's ask is just over $7.5 million, 7.663,500. So it's not tremendous compared to what other asks have been. A lot of this is paid with available funds, and some of it is going out to exclusions. We vote on those articles separately, but the whole total is $61,158,000, and I support it.
Do you know where you're getting that total from?
The total of the plan, like,
It's the last copy that I got. And I take the time to put it in my spreadsheet and add it up.
For the, yeah.
Are you including the 100,000? I'm looking at the February 18th version of the budget book.
Yeah,
Is that the latest that we have available?
it's the, what you would have gotten electronically.
Yeah, I think you sent around, yeah.
Right, which is the only version, the latest version that I think the rest of us all have is what was given to us in the budget books.
So did you take out the 100,000, Dana? No, that just came up to me tonight, so.
Right,
But the
okay.
article we're voting on is no cost. It's a no-charge article. We're just voting to adopt what we have been
Oh,
given.
I see.
And
It's on the last
That's
we
the,
will be able to,
Yeah, it's a very different
talk about
article
individual
number.
funding
Yeah,
articles
okay.
later.
okay, so right, we're just talking about the plan first.
Right.
Okay. Further comments people would like to make? Scott or Michelle, do you have any additional comments? I know we've talked about this before. Nothing? Anyone else? Okay, seeing no more comments. Michelle, I saw you
Yeah,
think about it.
I do. So there were two changes to the capital plan after it came out of the capital outlay committee.
Yes.
Those were voted in by the select board, is that correct?
They were, we just talked about one of them.
Yep.
I forget exactly which one the other one was. What was voted, what we, I think, agreed to is that what was voted was to replace the redo of the town's zoning maps for $100,000 with planning for transition to an adoption of form-based code for $125,000.
Correct.
The other article had to do with dredging, I know. The annual dredging of the harbor channels and inlets? No, that wasn't it. It was the special one. Saquatucket Marine Emergency Bulkhead Dredging for $350,000, I believe was the other one, which is in here.
Okay.
So the plan that we all have, I believe, is therefore only from a dollar standpoint, overstated by $100,000.
Thank you.
Okay, let's take a vote on adopting the capital plan as we've reviewed. I'll start with Scott.
Aye.
Dana,
Aye.
Michelle,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye. Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. That is adoption of the capital plan. Again, as Dana pointed out, adopting the plan, it does not have a dollar appropriation attached to it. Okay,
Shall I continue?
yes, please.
Okay, so, one philosophy here is although we don't have articles in the Board of Selectmen at this point in time, we don't have warrant articles formed that are written out, presented to us. But I would assume, and I may be wrong, that according to our vote on the capital plan, we adopted this year's 2027, if you will, items in particular, and I would assume therefore that we would be supporting those articles because they were in the plan. Otherwise, we would be objecting to it or saying we don't want to do it. So one approach that I mentioned to the chairman is that in anticipation of getting those articles, we could run through the list, accept and adopt from available funds or whatever, in anticipation of getting the actual wording in the warrant articles so that we can start to get through this. And because we have to be done by the end of the month. And if we don't do something like this, we're gonna be really up against it. And I would say that the chairman can make any adjustments he needs to make in our wording of the approval of these as we go forward, as the warrant articles are presented to us. Just the concept. Otherwise, we can sit on our hands and wait until, you know, whenever it is that they voted. And then we're gonna be sitting here on a Saturday and doing whatever. So, I don't know how you feel about that. And by the way, if we make one or two mistakes, we can go back and amend it.
Is it accept and adopt and pending?
Is it what?
Accept and adopt and pending further information?
I would do it just accept and adopt, subject to the wording of the articles that get presented to us. That's what I would do.
I would agree with that approach. The only potential surprise would be in the funding sources for the 27 capital expense that could be a surprise. So as long as our vote has the ability to go back if we see something surprising when we get that final funding schedule, you know, for instance, if all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of new excluded debt for projects that we think couldn't be funded that way,
Yep.
we still have the opportunity to amend.
We can move to reconsider from now to town meeting, or now until the time we have to, you know, submit the actual votes and reasoning for it. So that's, to my opinion, that's the only risk we take. And I think, you know, we can collectively decide whether some of these things are debt exclusion or just accept and adopt from available funds. So, you know, that kind of thing.
Okay.
We do also have a proposed funding sheet, and there's comments on the plan that the town is using with regard to potential funding sources on some of the articles.
And where is that?
It's probably the last sheet in that packet.
Funding plan, there you go, yep, yep.
So we may be able to make some reasonable guesses with regard to funding.
Okay.
So my suggestion would be, obviously we need further discussion, we take this capital outlay funding sources, funding plan, and use that as our worksheet to work down through this, because it has all the potential articles and the dollar amounts, right?
And that's what I would suggest also.
So
Okay.
You can read them down through, Peter.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, but is everybody good with that approach?
Yep.
Hearing no objection, that is the approach that we're going to take.
Okay, so I will just run through them in anticipation, each one. Well, I will say this, I think that in some cases like the DPW, I think that all their vehicles will be in one article. They usually are, so I would lump those together, and if I miss some of those, somebody speak up, okay? All right, so the first one would be to accept and adopt, replace 3 police cruisers, $143,000 from free cash. Although Dana, you're saying it's available funds, right, is the wording?
Yes,
Okay,
free cash is considered available funds.
okay,
The motion itself will actually say free cash. but,
yeah, yeah,
Our reasoning for supporting it is from available funds.
okay. So that was a motion. Is there a second?
Second. No.
Okay. Would you read the motion again?
Okay, the motion is to accept and adopt, replacing 3 police cruisers at a cost of $143,000 from available funds.
And who was the second?
I'll second.
Okay. For $143,000. Okay. Any discussion on that item? Dana?
Yeah, you know, it's sad for me to see this come out of the budget as it's been and put into the capital plan, because these are just like golf pencils and whatever else everybody uses for consumables. These are consumables in the police department. And I know back in the 90s, Peter and I fought real hard to put these into the budget, and now they're out, which means if somewhere along the line free cash dries up someday or whatever, these went out to an override once just before I was elected to the select board, or the board of selectmen as we called it then, and that article failed. Town meeting did not support it. I mean, the town meeting supported it, but the ballot did not support it. So we went a year backing everything up and then had to buy twice as many cruisers the next year. So that's the risk. It's run by having it out into an article. So I'm asking everybody to support it and support it vigorously, that we buy these cruisers.
And I agree with that, and remember even, I think more recently, that we had gone through having vehicle purchases being in the budget, and then again made a change and took them out and went through that same loop. And you're right, I think we're also going to run into the fact a little later on that we are now trying to take more articles out of the budget, and more items out of the budget, and use free cash and other sources to fund them.
I also echo this, Chairman. I would just say, Dana, in response to that, I think with the new sheriff in town, if you will, new finance director, I think in the year ahead, we have the opportunity to try and correct some of this.
That's my hope going forward, Peter.
Yeah.
Okay, other comments on with regard to the first item? Seeing none, I'll take a roll call vote. Scott?
Aye.
Dana?
Aye?
Michelle?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Tina?
Aye.
And I am an aye. Again, 8-0. Second one,
Mr. Chairman, I would move, accept and adopt dispatch radio IT upgrades for the police department in the amount of $275,000 from available funds.
A second?
oh, maybe we'll get into that tradition on this one too, hopefully, meaning Peter and.
Yeah, that would be helpful for the note taker in
It
particular.
would
Yeah.
be. And Mark A. Okay, so it's accept and adopt $275,000 from available funds. Dispatch radio / IT upgrades. Any additional discussion, comment? Seeing none, again, we'll start with Scott.
Aye.
Dana?
Aye?
Michelle?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Dan? Tina?
Aye.
And I am an aye. 8-0, okay. Next item.
Okay, in the fire department, I would move to accept and adopt I replace 4 EKG monitors, defibrillators at a cost of $300,000 from available funds.
I second.
$300,000. Okay, any comment? Seeing none, Scott,
Aye.
Dana,
Aye?
Michelle,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
Tina,
Aye.
and I am an aye. Okay, 4,
Okay, next item is, again with the fire department, replace 2023 F-550 Lifeline ambulance. The amount is $577,500 to be debt excluded.
I second.
I have a question.
yes, it's open for conversation and question.
Dana, is that also true of this much larger sort of item? What you said about cruisers being in the operating budget, were ambulances ever in the operating budget?
No, back in also the 90s, when Peter and I was select board members, we adopted a kind of policy to replace our ambulances one every other year so that we could keep up with making sure the entire fleet was turned over every 6 years. And that would allow us to keep up a fairly new and well-maintained fleet. If you remember last year, we had to buy 2 ambulances because it took longer to get them on the drawing board. So the 2 that we've already authorized haven't even been built yet. They're in the works. And this would go into that queue, but it would keep us on schedule for what had planned since the 90s.
And do you remember back then whether you used excluded debt or general debt?
We used the same thing, excluding debt. Occasionally, we would use free cash, but it all worked out the same way because it was a 5-year. Many times through accounting, they would pay for it before it even went out to any kind of taxation for the public. They would pay for it through accounting funds, but
Yeah.
it really impacted the public as far as a debt towards them that cost them additional money because of interest.
Right, but I guess it's just another example of something that just doesn't fit within 2.5, Proposition 2.5.
Exactly.
Even though it's something that we have to continue to refresh
Yep.
on a regular basis. Okay,
Yeah. At least it's every other year.
yeah.
I think, Scott, some of the gist of some of these things were looking at expenses that seem to come up, that seem to be part of the every year capital program, and if they're every year, whether that really should be looked at as budgetary, as opposed to, regardless of their meeting some accounting definition of capital. Anyway.
Right, I'm just talking about the general sustainability of a budget that it's just spreading out the cost over, I guess, 5 years or 10 years through the amortization of that debt. And I guess if it's always been excluded debt, we retire old debt around the same time we take on new debt, so it's kind of a level
Yep.
addition to the tax burden of the citizens.
You got it.
Got it.
Okay, any more comments? Seeing none, we'll take a vote. Scott,
Aye.
Dana,
Aye.
Michelle,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
Tina,
Aye.
and I am an aye. Okay, next one.
Next is Department of Natural Resources. I move accept and adopt replace 2008 F-150 pickup truck, $80,000 to be from available funds.
I second.
Okay. Any conversation? Seeing none, we'll take a vote. Scott,
Aye.
Dana,
Aye.
Michelle,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
Tina,
Aye.
and I am an aye. Okay, next item.
Next is in the planning department. I move to accept and adopt planning for transition to and adoption of free-form-based code, $125,000 from available funds.
Second?
And that was from available funds?
I'm going per the chart.
Yep,
just
that's
in
what I'm
case.
doing too.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, any comment? We'll vote, Scott,
Aye.
Dana,
Aye.
Michelle,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
Tina,
Aye.
and I am an aye.
And I'll just note that the next one, the planning department, we have eliminated, right?
Yes.
Okay. So then, Mr. Chairman, if we could move on, Department of Public Works. I move to accept and adopt road maintenance of $700,000 from general debt.
Second?
And just for clarification for anybody who actually listens to our meetings, would you briefly comment to the public, I suppose, on the distinction between general debt and excluded debt?
Dana, have that.
Dana, you want to make a brief comment on the distinction between general debt and excluded debt?
Yeah, this is one that comes up every single year. This one is pretty unique in that, the state matches every dollar that we put up. So that if we put up 700,000, we get 700,000 from the state. This is from the Chapter 90 funds, which is a special fund available to towns and cities for this purpose. And it allows us to, vote it every year and they match it. So for us to put up 700,000, we get $1.4 million worth of road repairs for the year. It started back in our day at $100,000. My, how things have grown. But it's been the same program for that long. It's been decades where it's gone on. Every year there's fear that it might make changes or go away, or someone might come along and change the funding formula, but that's Harwich share, and we support it every year. And this is another one that the accounting department tends to try to roll it as much as they can so that there's no actual additional impact to the taxpayers other than the 700,000, for which we get $1.4 million worth of road work.
Again, could you explain, though, the distinction between using the term general debt and putting it as funded from excluded debt?
I can tell you that I don't know all the details on that, but I do know that it's just two separate accounting functions as to which column it shows up into. And when we go to pay for it at the end, we pay for the whole bundle. But it all comes down as to which column it shows up into, as to how we account for it. And those are the big differences that I know of. And Scott has more.
Scott has a comment.
Let me give it a shot. Excluded debt gives the town additional tax levying authority above and beyond Proposition 2.5. General debt, the servicing of general debt, needs to fit within the 2.5, Proposition 2.5 tax levy.
Makes sense.
And therefore within the budget.
Right.
My AI agrees.
AI agrees.
okay.
There you go. May also be the distinction of having to have a vote, a election vote.
Right.
I think that excluded debt also has to go to the
Let's
ballot.
go on a ballot.
Yes, and this one's going to the ballot every year, been supported.
Exactly.
That's the major difference.
That, okay. So no further comment. We'll again vote this. Scott?
Aye.
Dana?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Tina?
Aye.
And I am an aye. Okay. Moving along.
Okay, next we're moving on to vehicles within the Department of Public Works, and I will lump them all together because usually the article comes as one
Yep.
article. The total of this will be $795,000. Okay?
Yep.
And will be taken from free cash. So I'll read them, and that would be vehicle replacements. Replace a 2015 one-ton dump truck, U-21, at a cost of $130,000. Replace 2015 one-ton dump truck, U-14, at $130,000. Replace 2017 Mack trailer, L-32, $200,000. Replace 2015 hook lift / refuse packer truck, U5, for $200,000, and replace 2018 construction and demo trailer number 3, $135,000, for a total of $795,000 from available funds.
I second.
Okay, any conversation? Hearing none, let's vote. Wait a minute, Dana, did you have to have something you wanted to chirp in with?
Yeah, I'll just say that, as we know, the one-tons are the workhorses of the highway department. That's what they use for everything to get done in terms of individual people going out and doing work. They do the plowing, they do the catch basins, they pick up dead animals on the road, they pick up dead animals from the sea. I mean, they do a lot of work out there. And the other trailers that you talked about is how we get trash to CMAS. So unless you want the trash to continue to pile up in Harwich, you gotta find a way to do it.
All right, thank you.
They've been putting it on your front lawn, by the way.
Well, while you're gone, along with the snow. Okay, we're gonna vote. Scott,
Aye.
Dana,
Aye.
Michelle,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Dan, Tina,
Aye.
and I am an aye. 8-0 again. Next.
Okay, Mr. Chair, now we'll move on to the harbor master items.
Yes.
First one is, I move accept and adopt annual dredging of harbor channels and inlets, $500,000 from available funds.
I second.
Okay, been moved and seconded to adopt annual dredging of harbor channels for $500,000. Any conversation? Seeing none, we'll vote. Scott?
Aye.
Dana?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Tina?
Aye.
And I am an aye. Okay.
Next, Mr. Chairman, I move accept and adopt Sagatuck Marina emergency bulkhead dredging, $350,000. Funded from Waterways Fund, $175,000, and other funding, $175,000, whatever that means.
Okay. So
And
it's 175,000 from Waterways. And $175,000 currently from other.
I think that means we're gonna figure it out going forward based on how it all comes
Yeah,
together.
that's what
I
was
think so.
thinking.
Yeah.
Do we
I
have,
second.
we have a second? We have a motion and a second. Yes, ma'am.
What is waterways funding?
Waterways, they collect fees down at the harbor and blah,
Oh,
blah,
okay,
blah, blah.
so it's like an enterprise fund in a way.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any further conversation? Scott, we'll vote.
Aye.
Dana,
Aye.
Michelle,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
Tina,
Aye.
and I am an aye.
Okay, next, Mr. Chairman, again with the harbor master, replace the 2015 Ford Explorer, $80,000. I move, accept and adopt, replace 2015 Ford Explorer, $80,000 from Waterways Fund.
I second.
Okay, moved and seconded to replace a Ford Explorer for $80,000 using the Waterways Fund.
It's a hard one.
Pardon?
It's a hard one.
Yes, the Waterways Fund. Okay, any comment? Seeing none, we'll vote. Scott?
Aye.
Dana?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Dana? Dan?
Aye.
Tina?
Aye.
And I am an aye. Okay.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, again with the harbor master, I move to accept and adopt Herring River Route 28 boat ramp replacement at a cost of, $300,000 from available funds.
I second.
Okay. Moved and seconded to replace the Herring River Route 28 boat ramp for $300,000. Any comment? Seeing none, we'll vote. Scott?
Aye.
Dana?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Tina?
Aye.
And I am an aye. Okay.
Next, Mr. Chairman, again on the harbor master, I move accept and adopt replace 2010 and 2014 boats for Sacotucket Harbor at a cost of $425,000 from excluded debt.
I second.
Okay, moved and seconded to replace two boats for Sacotucket Harbor for a total of $425,000. Any comment? Seeing none, we'll vote. Scott?
Aye.
Dana?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Tina?
Aye.
And I am an aye. Okay.
Okay,
14.
and the final one under the harbor master, I would move accept and adopt replace 16-foot Boston whaler for Long Pond at a cost of $65,000 from Waterways Fund.
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to replace, or to purchase anyway, to replace a Boston whaler for a total of $65,000. Any comment? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and vote. Scott?
Aye.
Dana?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Tina?
Aye.
And I am an aye.
Next, Mr. Chairman, we move on to Facilities Department.
Yep.
I would move to accept and adopt Community Center Generator, cost of $168,000 from other funding.
I second.
To generate $168,000.
It's a water generator.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to buy a community center generator for $168,000, currently being funded through other funds. Any comment?
Just a quick question. How
Yes,
often
ma'am.
is the generator replaced? Just, does anybody know? Community
If
center?
what?
How often?
Community
Is
Center
it-
was built
is it
when, Dana,
replaced?
what year?
2000?
2000, so it's 25 years
Yeah,
So
old.
this would be the first
generator
one,
came
okay.
A couple years later, they do test them every year. If they don't pass the test, then they decide whether to
Okay.
repair them or replace them. And at some point, they just have to replace them.
Yep, makes sense. Okay, thank you.
And I do not know if they, in the 25 years, have added more load to the building, and maybe it's a little bit bigger size than they had before. I'm guessing.
Question?
Dan?
Does that go out for bid?
Of course.
It does? Okay, I'm
Okay.
just curious.
Yeah.
Whether
Yeah.
I
it's
think that's the
sole
process, yeah.
vendor purchase or something like that, they do, it is, okay.
I mean, if it's a Kohler now, it could be a Cat next time, I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it has to fall under
Procurement law.
procurement law.
Yeah.
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 Three bids.
Okay, no further comment? We'll vote. Scott?
Aye.
Dana?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Mark?
aye,
Dan?
aye,
Tina?
Aye.
And I am an aye. Okay,
Okay, next under, again, Facilities Department, I would move to accept and adopt Community Center roof replacement. Cost is $485,000 from other funding.
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the community center roof replacement for $485,000 currently from other funds. Any comment?
I'll just have the same question. Is this
It's a
the first
25-year
time?
roof.
Okay, all right,
Since
Thank you.
since the community center was built.
okay, all right.
Michelle?
Same question as before. So what does other funding mean?
Other funding means we haven't finished figuring out how much money we have to do everything else, so they will either, the town will either finally be able to find the funding through one of our available sources, or if it comes right down to it, they could pull the item.
As opposed to
Hello?
debt?
Pardon?
For us,
No new
for us
debt.
doing everything as available funds, it makes it easier because instead of narrowing it to free cash, it just means that many different sources can be used. I know they're looking at old articles that could fit, and they're looking at other possible available funds that are not free cash. So it just gives them the flexibility to do that, and we won't have to change our whole plan.
Yeah.
But in the end, if the funds are not available, we're gonna have to do some maneuvering around
Right.
here.
But not debt.
Well,
It's
if you
just
don't, if
a
you don't write it in, if
creative
you don't write a
funding.
dead article, you can't, after the warrant's been issued, go
Yeah.
back and say, oh, I wanna have a dead article, you can't do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was
Just
some
a funding.
conversation,
Yeah.
there was some conversation earlier in this year's presentation of the capital plan of an item, a fairly large item, I'm not sure which, and that was originally identified as possibly funding through a sinking fund that the town apparently has. But it was also identified at the time that if in fact that was not possible, the article might just be dropped.
Yeah.
So there's always a question of whether or not we have the money available
Right.
somewhere.
And you could get to town meeting, the article's still there, you don't have the funding, and we just indefinitely postpone it.
I mean, from a planning standpoint, what it likely means is putting off the roof replacement until a future year,
Yeah.
which I think has been talked about.
I had a similar question that I asked in my previous life. And the response was, it will be there when we need it fund.
Rainy day fund.
Okay, any other questions about the roof?
Nope.
Seeing none, we will vote. Scott? Dana?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Tina?
Aye.
And I am an aye.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, the final one of Facilities Department, I move accept and adopt DPW Facilities and Mechanical Workshop. The amount is $1 million from an excluded debt.
I second.
Any conversation? Tina?
Yeah, and I guess my question here is, so this is a new build, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Although I think at least at the presentation, there was in the presentation that at least that I was privy to the select board, there was conversation, people bringing up the topic as to whether in fact the facilities department should be looking at considering, rather than simply this individual standalone new building, renovations, expansions of or whatever of other buildings. But this as presented is a standalone new building, as I
Okay.
understand it.
All right, thank you.
I think this just does the engineering work.
Pardon?
This just does the design and preparation work.
I think that's
There's a
right.
bigger number coming in.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Uh,
There's $11 million in the 5-year plan in
Yeah.
2028
Right,
for the actual construction,
right.
11.2.
Okay.
So between now and then, who knows how this will evolve, this project. Any other comments? Okay, we'll vote. Scott?
Aye.
Dana?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Tina?
Aye.
And I am an aye. Okay.
Next, Mr. Chairman, this is on the Harwich Elementary School, for which Harwich is responsible. Replace RTU 4, which is the library and dehumidification system, I move to accept and adopt, replace RTU 4 library and dehumidification system at a cost of $60,000, other funding.
Other funding.
I second.
Okay. Any comments?
Just a
Dana?
question to our two capital outlay folks. So was this part of your tour? I think did you both go to Harwich Elementary School? So this was all part of that tour?
I don't know if Scott was there. Were you there, Scott?
I showed up and couldn't get them to
Couldn't
open
get
the
in.
door for me. So
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't go on the tour.
You wouldn't let 'em in.
All right. So it was part of the tour. I assume it would have been. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah. All right.
So you all saw this humidifier.
We saw lots of things.
That was on the
Dehumidifier.
list.
Boilers, roof, you know.
Yeah.
It was probably very dry in there, so.
I bet it was, exactly
Put
Or
right.
together.
dehumidification, no, it's probably wet in there.
Yeah.
He put a presentation about all these items in the school that were eventually going to need replacement.
Exactly. Okay. All right,
Okay.
thank you.
Any further comment?
Just by the way, just for information, the 60,000 is just gonna be passed right to us through the Monomoy School District. That's the other funds in this case.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It's going to be included in the.
In their budget. Okay.
Well, in their assessment number.
That we get, yes.
Which is 100% to us, right?
Right.
Right,
Chatham has no part of it.
right.
Okay.
Okay. Then, so we have a motion to accept and adopt on replacing the dehumidification system at the Harwich Elementary School, or at least part of it. Scott, voting.
Aye.
Dana,
Aye.
Michelle,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
Tina,
Aye.
and I am an aye.
Okay, and we move on to water wastewater. I move to accept and adopt new well and water treatment plant update. The cost is $1,100,000 to be funded $500,000 from the enterprise fund and $600,000 from other funding.
I second.
Okay, the motion is to accept and adopt well and water treatment plant update for $1,100,000, with the funding coming $500 from the enterprise fund and $600 from what is currently identified as other funding.
By the way, this connects to a fiscal 29 actual construction project. The 1.1 is design only, and it's $3.5 million of construction. I think the rationale was that it was going to take a year and a half to 2 years for the design.
Yep.
That's why the construction doesn't happen until 29.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you. Any further comment? Okay, then we will vote. Scott?
Aye.
Dana?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Tina?
Aye.
And I am an aye.
And finally, Mr. Chairman, again under water wastewater, I move to accept and adopt, replace 2014 dump truck and 2008 case track loader. Cost is $510,000 to be paid for from the enterprise fund.
I second.
Okay. Accept and adopt replacing a dump truck and a case track loader for $510,000. Any additional conversation, comments, questions? Seeing none, we'll vote. Scott?
Aye.
Dana?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
Tina?
Aye.
And I thank you for your patience going through that.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you all. I think we were able to get through it relatively timely. And that gives us a
general
does-
question,
Pardon? Yes.
just a general question, does Massachusetts have state contracts that it negotiates with car companies and that kind of thing? So that if you need to buy a dump truck,
Yep.
you
Yep.
go to the state
Yep.
contract to
Yep.
buy it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Same as
Yeah.
police cruisers, all
Yeah.
those things.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
Unless it's
It's
some
done through the
unusual
county, they
piece
have
of
a county
equipment.
bid.
yeah.
Yeah. County bid, he said. Dana said.
Dana said what?
Yeah,
Dana, can you repeat that?
Yes.
it's done on a county bid based on the state approved funding. You know,
Yeah.
In other words, they work out a contract for the whole state, but then it is actually run through the county, and they actually will take in all of our old vehicles as trade-ins and dispose of that, and we get the revenue from that. The whole program is done through the county.
I think the county does well.
In fact, back in New York, if you didn't purchase off of the state contract, you had to get a waiver, I would imagine.
Which?
If you did not purchase a vehicle
Yeah.
off of state contract, you need to get a waiver to do that, so if you had some kind of specialized vehicle.
Okay. We do have other articles that we can try to vote on, or at least consider. I have what's identified in the chart as B13, I believe.
Revolving fund annual authorization.
Pardon?
The revolving fund annual authorization.
This happens to be the non-operating budget appropriations dash funded from free cash.
Yeah.
What list are you reading from?
I guess,
Here's the one-liners, 330.
I'm looking at this one from Dana.
Is that the latest Dana one?
I'm reading from the sheet that comes out with every week with the select
Oh.
board package.
Oh, okay, all right.
Do you,
So this is B13 in the town's.
do you have the list there, and just to run down through what those cover? I don't have that.
Yes, I do, and I will, so that, for anybody on the screen here. Okay, what we have is, and I'll read the department and then the project. Cultural Affairs, Human Service Grants for $80,000. Department of Public Works / Engineering, Stormwater MS4 Program Year 9, $100,000. Finance Committee, the Finance Committee Reserve Fund, $175,000. Finance Division, the OPEB Trust, $350,000. The Harwich Affordable Housing Trust, the Project Affordable Housing Stabilization Fund, which I believe means transferring from the stabilization fund, blah, 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 to the trust, $100,000. Town Clerk and Moderator, electronic voting costs, $40,000. Which I believe at this point in time, although I could be wrong, I think when last year we voted for the electronic voting, I think there was at that point, a conclusion in trying this out, that we would be renting and that this would be potentially an annual kind of cost. And I mention that because last year's article was for $35,000.
I think if I remember, Mr. Chairman, that your argument was for renting was that the technology's changing. And you're gonna have old stuff that doesn't work with other stuff.
Rapidly, blah, blah, yep. And we'll see as we try it out.
We will.
And the last one is from the Youth Services Department, fund the preschool subsidy program, blah, blah, blah. I need some water. $220,000. This was an item that was in the budget last year, and originally, I think 2 years ago, it was a standalone article. So it has moved around, is now currently being included in a separate article of use of free cash for a total of $1,065,000.
Does it have to be one article?
This is one article.
Yeah, it's one
Yep.
article, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and there are brief explanations of each item underneath in the article. I need a motion,
Add the piece of paper, I'll be glad to make a motion.
absolutely.
Would you like some water?
Some what? If you have some, sure.
Harwich has fine quality water, which is available
I
at
would
the
love
local
some if you have it
spigot.
too, yeah,
Can I,
okay.
are you bringing a tray for everyone?
Okay,
So wait,
if I,
can we just vote this first?
yes,
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I move the article, which is non-operating budget appropriations funded from free cash in a total amount of $1,065,000, accept and adopt.
I'll second.
Wait.
No,
did you say
Oh,
the
you want
funding
Mark to
source?
second?
Free cash, that's what it says on here.
I second.
Oh, okay.
okay. So now we have it on the table. Thank you, sir.
Would now be a good time to get some water for people?
It would be a great time.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
Is
Do
it
you need
free?
to take the vote? Do you want him to grab the vote?
No.
Okay.
He needs- Yeah, I'll bring a bunch, but
Do you want to
Should we
vote
take
before you
vote?
leave?
No, well, we can sit and ponder.
Okay.
We can make him vote last.
Sure.
Okay. Scott has his hand up, by the way.
Scott has his hand up. Yes, Scott?
It's my real hand, it's a lot bigger than the.
On the virtual hand.
So, I just have it's more of a comment, but I guess it's also a question. I had asked, Jen about these items. She mentioned in one of her presentations that some items are moving off the budget in fiscal '27, and that helps explain the very low rate of growth in the administrative expense increase from fiscal '26 to fiscal '27. And I had asked her, where do these items now appear? For instance, the preschool program. It appears in the '26 budget right there as a regular operating expense. Where does it appear in '27? And she didn't have an answer for me. And now that I see that it's coming from free cash, it seems like it doesn't appear at all in the fiscal '27 operating budget. And that's just a speculation. I'm wondering if anyone more learned in how these things work could confirm that.
No, that's
topic.
That's exactly right. Items being funded from free cash are outside of the budget. They're being funded
Yeah.
they're being funded not through the budget funding, but they will appear in the warrant as part of this article, and the
Got it.
townspeople have a chance to, they could, actually townspeople with an article like this that covers a number of different topics, it wouldn't shock me to have somebody try to amend the article in one form or
Right.
another. And last year, I believe the subsidy program was $250,000. It leaves open a variety of possibilities on town meeting floor that could be considered. I don't know if any of those will be, but it does leave that available. Dana?
Yeah, a couple of things. First off, based on what you just said, I wish that some of these would be itemized, but I know it's an old selectman tradition to put these all together, because in terms of historic votes, the yes votes adds up, but the no votes do not. So, there'll be people that vote no and people vote yes. I know that, there was one, the free cash for, the Finance Committee Reserve Fund, just in general, this goes all the way back to 1994 when I first started going to conferences outside of Harwich. Putting free cash in the operating budget is absolutely the worst thing you can do as far as your AAA rating and all those kinds of things. It does add to our reserve, but someday if free cash disappears, which has happened before, it comes back to bite us. So that's one to be scared of. I'm gonna support that because the total package overweighs the few things I would vote against. And we, as Peter stated earlier, we have a new regime, and we're kind of giving them support to get their way of doing things on the ground and off to a good start. I'm gonna support that, but I hope we're watching it every single year from this point forward as far as
Thank you,
putting
sir.
free cash in the budget. wanna monitor that number every single year. Cause at one point, the town of Harwich had over $2 million worth of free cash in the budget. And then state changes made the free cash dry up. And we had the largest override the town has ever had. That override failed.
Oh, no.
A subsequent Band-Aid override for over $1 million just barely passed, and it left us in a mess. So we just want to keep our eye on this one.
And I agree with everything you're saying, Dana, that
It's a slippery slope.
that's right, that it is a way to, in some ways, taking things out of the budget is a way to avoid some expense management in some, at least in some way of looking at it, and can eventually become a real problem. Mr. Hughes?
So I'd just say on the Finance Committee Reserve Fund, this year I think we're at $125,000, and Tony made the recommendation strongly that we should go to 175. We've had no requests on that fund this year. I think we had that question asked to us last year, and we had no requests for funding, but I think the approach about Tony and the new sheriff in town are that, hey, as we tighten up on budget, supposedly, people need to know that there is a sufficient reserve fund there, that if something comes up and they need it, say for instance, you know, a lot of overtime or something from all this snow stuff we had and whatnot, there's gotta be a safety valve, and that would be it. And I do agree with Dana that usually that was not funded by free cash. I'd also say on the preschool thing, it started out as an article the first year. The selectmen fought hard to put it in the budget, I think because they had room in the budget to do it the second year. And now that things are getting tight again, they're putting it out to say, hey folks, do you really want to do this? I'm guessing that the reduction from 250 to 225 may have to do with how many people actually applied to the program. Because we are running out of kids, I mean, you know, that kind of thing. So there could be less of a demand for it than there was. So I'm assuming that's what that is.
Could I ask a question? Is there anything else in this list that's like
thank you.
the child care program, in that it's taking money out of the 27 budget that exists in the 26 operating budget, and therefore is acting to help us squeeze by in terms of needing an operating override? Because I know that that's a very strong motivation this year, given the fact that the Monomoy district budget is still in flux, the fact that we still have quite a gap between the number we're carrying and the latest that I've seen from the district. Is there anything else like the child care subsidy, like the OPEB trust?
Well, I believe the OPEB trust contribution is one. I believe actually that the human service grant item last year was in the budget. And separate from this article, what we have separately is dredging, which was one of the large items that stuck out in the comparison. Also, those are the ones that strike me, Scott. Dana?
And police cruisers as well.
Police cruisers.
Finance Committee Reserve Fund was always out of the budget. I'll also say that on the OPEB, what was past practice for quite a few years was to take what was left in free cash at the end of our spending frenzies and put half of it into OPEB and half of it into the stabilization fund, so that some of it would be available for a future day, which is also, we haven't seen anything for that yet. And I will be watching throughout the proceedings to the services article that, line item in the budget that Robert brought up, in that has to be funded. That's been out to an override twice. The money is there. If you gotta cut that much money, cut it from somewhere else, but that money exists to support that article, and that shouldn't come out of the budget anywhere, and it should be funded with raise and appropriate with taxes.
Okay, further conversation on the budget, non-operating budget appropriations being funded from free cash list. Seeing none, we'll take a vote. Scott?
In deference to the new sheriff and our hope for great progress, aye.
Dana?
Having seen examples of those free, new things coming along, I'm gonna support it as well. Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye. Oh,
Dan,
Dan, did you say aye?
Yeah, aye.
Tina?
Aye.
And I'm an aye and agree with all the other comments
Yes,
that people
yes.
have made.
And we can always revisit.
And we can
That's
revisit
true.
if this in fact potentially changes
Yeah, I
between.
can't wait to see your explanation on this.
I can't wait to see town meeting's reaction to it. It's
Yeah.
either gonna be
That too,
no
yeah.
discussion, or it's gonna be 2 hours of, why did we do this way?
Okay,
We spent a whole night on petition articles, so.
yeah.
Yeah,
Hope-
yeah, there's
hope-
a lot of those. too.
Hopefully they go back to putting them at the end. Of course, we are now, we're now gonna start at 6 instead of 7. I believe that was voted
Yep.
Monday
Yep.
officially.
Let's try to be fast.
Okay. The next item I have is labeled as B14, Annual Departmental Revolving Funds Authorization. And as stated in the article, the only change from last year is the one that this committee has already voted on, which is the change of recreation from $175,000 to $400,000. All of the other items, or at least are claimed to be, and I believe I checked, the same amount as was in prior years. I don't know if I need to read them, if people have seen them.
Could I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
I thought when Jen was before us last, and we talked about revolving funds, that she was gonna have a new format for presentation at the, in the warrant, if I remember that correctly. That, she was, as we all know, she's delving into those, and, maybe she's not gonna get to it by the time town meeting gets here, so they're just gonna go with what they had before.
It certainly looks like, it may be slightly different, but it looks like basically the same format. It's a little bit bigger, and it takes more room. But than last year's warrant did, which really cut everything down to about half a page, half of one page.
Yeah, it looks like, I mean, really looks like no change, I mean, so.
Yeah.
And 204 is still in a revolving account, so.
Yes. I need to forward you, I think I got some narrative from finance director that I need to forward to you concerning what her
We
efforts
saw
so
it,
far.
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
there's
I
there
think
may
it
be
She
a-
sent it to everybody.
It went to all of us.
There
We
may be a
got it.
second one.
Oh,
I'm
really?
not sure if I sent both
Okay.
out to everybody
Yeah.
or not. But anyway, so this is the revolving fund authorization, again, in what appears to be similar format to prior year, with the only change from last year's balances being the recreation amount, which again, we voted on at a separate meeting a couple of months, a month or 2 months ago, whatever, to change from 175,000 to 400,000. Further discussion on the revolving fund authorization. Dana?
Yeah, I'm not gonna support this article as it is, just because of, we bailed out the recreation department for this year so that they could finish the year by increasing the amount. But in general, I just been working too long to try and get all of these accounts going in the other direction. And to have this big a jump on this one, for another year is just, I mean, they've had time to, somebody turn to them and say, fix your budget and get this stuff straightened out. But, overall, they're still all the same, or they're going up in this particular case. And I'm just not gonna support it this year. I don't think I supported it last year as it was. This is definitely going in the wrong direction. And, even given, I know it has to pass, I know that town meeting has to put this out there or it really messes up a lot of departments. But this particular thing just sticks in me as too much for me to support. So I'll be voting no on this one.
We actually have a motion.
We need a motion.
Oh,
Somebody make it, it's not coming from me.
I guess if nobody else will, I'll make the motion that we, to accept and adopt the annual departmental revolving funds authorization.
I second.
Okay. Okay, and so we are officially open for discussion. Now, Michelle.
so just as a recap of our discussion with the finance director, if I remember correctly, we visited the recreation and we increased that for the reasons we all know. But the finance director said that she was going to look into the 204 Sisson revolving fund, correct?
She is doing an analysis of all of the revolving funds,
But
correct?
it's a timing issue, right? So we have to get something in for town meeting, but she needs more time.
Well, this article will be at town meeting, period.
Mm-hmm.
The argument will be if you don't pass that article,
If-
then those programs or 204 would have to basically shut down because they don't have revolving.
There's no little, oh,
So my point is that, given the fact that we haven't had a finance director for how long, you know, maybe we should give her the opportunity to do what she said she's going to do, and the timing is just not working out, you know?
Oh, I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah,
Right, and that is certainly the,
Vote for it, but I absolutely agree with
Yeah.
that is certainly the
So-
presentation that she made to us, was
Right,
exactly
yes.
that, to,
And by the way, even if the finance committee says we don't vote for this, doesn't mean the selectmen will vote for it and the town meeting
Yep.
doesn't vote for it. Because the argument will be made, you have to pass it.
right, or all these programs basically, or assuming that they actually spend their money, all these programs, well, they won't have any authorization if they don't get authorized, so, that, things
Okay.
come to a stop,
got it.
a lot of things. Just as the finance director did with the recreation department,
Mhm.
she refused to pay another bill, which is sort of an odd situation because I'm sure that there had been, in fact, bills incurred and work done by vendors
Yep.
who were now in the situation of questioning whether they were gonna get paid, but that's a whole different story. So, yes, that she certainly made a sales pitch to us to give her the opportunity that she had the skill set and determination to get this done. And I think her recent email, which I thought is the one I guess that I sent out, did indicate that, to me anyway, that she is working on doing work on this topic, and trying to get to the bottom of all these things.
So, just as an added comment, so if we don't approve this, then it ties the hands of,
If the town doesn't approve
right,
it,
but
not
we-
if we don't approve it,
Yeah.
if the town
town
doesn't
meeting.
approve it, town
Yeah.
meeting.
Okay, so look at it this way, if we don't approve this,
Mhm.
we, finance committee, when the moderator takes up this article, he will look to the finance committee to say, do I have a positive motion? And we will, if we don't, we won't. And then he'll point to the selectmen and say basically, do we have a positive motion? They would motion it and it'd be on, out for discussion, so.
I see.
And I get your point, in one way, it's saying, well, if you vote against this, then you're kind of saying to the new finance director, hey, we're not supporting this. But at the same time, this is like the fourth year now, where we're waiting for something to happen here, so. And if you read what we did last year and all the explanation, it was basically, hey, we disagree with this thing, it's gotta get fixed,
Mm.
right?
And I think we are being led to believe by the finance director that the more she digs into things in general, which she clearly is doing and finding various things that need to be fixed,
Mhm.
and is not shying away from the responsibility to fix things. Okay,
So my question is, I assume we're gonna be meeting every week. Do we have to vote this? Can we table this to another meeting, this particular article?
only, well, we could,
this
but
committee.
I'm gonna say,
But you wanna move
we
it
should
forward?
have, well, I'm gonna say we should have a reason to table it.
Because I need to think about it. That's my, that's my reason, yeah.
Well, we can always reconsider
Yeah.
before,
What was it?
Okay.
you know, before we have to turn in
Just to
our
think about it.
votes.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's an annual recurring article.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
I mean, I hear what Dana and everybody is saying, and at the same time, I feel, I don't know, I'm looking at all these departments, and it's not their fault that this was, I don't know, I mean, anyway, I just am a little concerned about some of these departments. So,
It'll get funded as a group or it won't get funded.
Yeah,
I mean, it'll
exactly.
fund it, but it won't
It's
get
a-
authorized as-
It's a
Right.
package of.
yeah, it's a package deal,
of-
yeah,
It's a package deal, that's
Yep.
correct.
And these revolving funds are self-funding, so they're paying for themselves with fees. We're just authorizing them to collect and spend the fees.
yeah,
I mean, the legal premise exactly of revolving funds is that they are raising their own
right,
revenue.
yeah, I understand
There's
that,
there's nothing in the budget for them
yeah.
from a,
So if you want
Yeah.
to stand in the way of Little League,
that's right.
Yes, I understand it, it's how the cafeteria runs at the high school, they're self-funded, I get
We
it,
could
yeah,
get
At the
somebody
same
in,
time, they're
Yeah.
gonna show you that 204 doesn't self-fund itself.
yeah,
so
okay, all right,
there may
Yes,
be
Jim?
ones that are living off past funding. Dana?
Just one final comment. You know, we talked about them funding themselves, which is correct, as Mark said, but none of this money goes into the general fund to help support all of the other departments that make these departments run. So when you look at that entire amount of over $1 million, and you look at why we're squeezing our budget to get things out of it, a contribution from all of these little funds along the way. I think at one point there was pickleball was charging $5 additional that went to the town out of their fees to go into the general fund. Those kind of things could alleviate some of the pressure we have to put our police cruisers out for free cash and things like that. So, again, we as a finance committee have been wrestling this with 4 years. I personally have been wrestling with it for longer than that. I was head of recreation for 5 years. We put everything in the budget and we funded it through the budget. And if more people signed up for T-ball than we had budgeted, then we just passed the hat and paid for it ourselves and got the kids to play T-ball. Nobody ever suffered because it was in the budget and extra people signed up. That's the way I see revolving funds working, is to be able to alleviate that extra pressure. But I think all of these are tried and true kind of situations, and they should be in the budget. But I'm gonna vote against this, it's my personal thing. I remember when the last time the finance committee voted as a group to not support this, we stood up at town meeting and I made the speech that said, we want this to pass. We're just giving you our reasons for why we can't support this in this way. And that's what I'm doing tonight. I hope you guys vote for it. But I personally cannot vote for this tonight.
okay.
Okay. Further comment? Seeing none, I think we will then vote. Scott?
Aye.
Dana?
No.
nay.
Michelle?
I'm gonna vote no.
Okay.
Nay.
Peter? Aye.
Nay.
Nay?
Nay.
Nay means no.
3.
Nay.
Mark?
Aye. Aye.
And
Aye.
Tina? Aye. And I'm an aye. So that is
3 to
5
something,
to 3.
No.
5 to 3.
And in itself sends a message.
With the nays being
And
Dana,
generally, when you have one like that, somebody has,
Michelle.
town meeting says, why did people vote against us? And we get a chance to explain, so
Yep.
who knows?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
okay, so the article does pass 5 to 3. Okay, And you, yes, and again, we do have a little time to reconsider still, but this is trying to get things in at least a condition we can deal with. The next one is B15, fund prior year's unpaid bills. That,
Mr. Chairman, I move we make no recommendation pending further information.
that's a motion,
Second.
and we have a second.
This is one that we don't have to decide right up until town meeting, and every once in a while, someone finds an old bill in a drawer and
Yeah.
says, oh my God, we
Yeah.
gotta add this in there, and there's always the chance of some little change. It's something we have to pay, but, the amount isn't sure yet, and it's always one that we can wait right up until the evening of if we have to. But, it doesn't have to be printed in the warrant that we support this for this amount.
And just as a note, the article as written does say, the final amount will be presented in the motion at town meeting to reflect all prior year bills received by the close of the fiscal year accounting process. And for,
This could change this changes everything now.
just for, people understand accounting purposes, that books stay open past year end for a period of time, a defined period of time, essentially, depending upon the various places' policy, to gather together all the vendor bills that they can, that represent, essentially, later than, bills that were for expenditure, for liabilities incurred before the year end, that should be part of the year-end books of the organization and approved for payment is the
Mr.
idea.
Chairman, with the wording you just read, I withdraw my second.
The additional note wording that's in the article,
Mhm.
so we do, at the moment, we do not have a second. Looking for a second?
To hold
Dana
it?
has his hand up.
Dana is the motion maker. Dana?
Yes.
Yes?
I just had a comment, when we put no recommendation pending further information, the language goes with it is that the Finance Committee recommends no recommendation pending further information when, at the time of the printing of the warrant, it had sufficient or incomplete information to make an informed recommendation. It does not imply a negative view, only an incomplete understanding of the article at the print deadline. Finance Committee will make its final recommendation at the town meeting after having received further information. So it just says, it's our way of waiting for.
Okay, and my comment, again, related to the accounting, is that essentially the town has a legal liability with regard to those bills that are incurred before year end. And so essentially needs authorization to be able to pay them.
Scott has a.
Yeah, Scott?
And how does that work? I don't remember seeing the number, maybe it was read out loud, and do we get to see the details of all these bills that have been discovered?
It's usually not all these bills, it's a couple, usually.
Do you have an amount for this year?
There's not an amount in the article. No, they just state that there will be an amount. And I think we were actually told at one of the visits by one of the town administrators and the finance director, that something about they're trying to make sure this year that they did capture all of the closing liabilities. I forget exactly, but for some reason I recall that.
So if we approve this tonight and it goes to print with no dollar sign on it from us, and there turns out not to be a bill, then we're gonna indefinitely postpone the article, and we're not gonna look as good in that we supported an article that had no dollar sign in it.
The only thing is,
Something we can wait for.
this will be at the very end of the meeting, and
Yeah.
they're just gonna blow it through, because at that point, they're so tired of all these petition articles and whatnot, they wanna go home, quite frankly.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yep, yep.
Eh?
You may.
So last year's amount was $1,250, and we voted to accept and adopt. And it was things like toner,
Yeah, it's just
bill
stuff.
printing stuff, it's like odds and ends, internet expense. All the expenses were less than $410 to 4 vendors.
So Dana's motion is to hold,
Dana's
or not,
Definitely
okay,
Definitely.
all right.
is to essentially indefinitely postpone, or, right. I forget, read your motion again, Dana?
I move no recommendation pending further information.
Right.
I'm
no
gonna
rec-
second.
No recommendation.
I'm gonna second.
You're gonna
Oh,
second.
or did Scott second? One of us, yeah.
Scott wants to second it. Okay, Scott seconded it. So first, no recommendation
Those
pending.
guys out in
It's a
Zoom
remote
land.
motion.
Also known as NRPF.
Dana and Scott. That's where we are currently.
PFI.
Pardon?
No recommendation pending further information.
Right.
The five letter.
NRPFI.
Yes.
The
Exactly.
acronym, okay.
That's right. Exactly right. Although for some reason I think we shortened it to 4 of those 5, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, there's one letter that falls out sometimes.
Yes, that somehow it gets pulled out. Personally, again, actually for the reverse of the argument, that by having no, we're agreeing that by voting for the article, we would be agreeing as finance people that in fact the late bills of the town should be authorized to be paid, by essentially giving, but while we could postpone that, at the end of the day, we basically, one way or another, should be supporting paying the late bills of the town. And regardless of how the amount comes in. And the article does say that the amount will be available specifically for the motion at town meeting, which I believe, but I don't see any particular reason for not voting the article currently. That's my opinion anyway. You had a hand up?
So that's the accrued amount.
That's the accrued amount, right? Exactly.
And
Yes.
so the only thing that would be concerning, I guess, would be is if it was a really, really large number, right? Or excessive amount
And even then,
of, it
We-
could be a timing issue.
well, even then we have to pay it, and it belongs in the fiscal year that it was incurred.
And somebody said we owe $1 million.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
now-
you
now-
never know.
Now, how we pay it, yes.
Yeah, you never know.
You never know, but the liability is an incurred liability at the point,
Yeah,
at that point.
yeah.
Which is why I never really understood this proposal, that we have to act on approving unpaid bills.
Because they're from last year.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
understand.
So this is an accounting measure just to point out that a couple of bills came in late and we need to pay them because if we don't pay our toner bill, we won't get all these wonderful reports.
We won't get any more toner.
Right.
No, the bills still would have to be paid.
Absolutely.
Right.
Okay,
And
Dana
credit-
has another
It's a
comment.
matter whether you know the number today
Right.
or you know it the night of town meeting. I mean, that's really what it amounts to.
Dana has his hand up.
But should you should you approve it if you don't know the number? I would argue no.
well, it's all, yeah, I think it's also a funding question. Which year the funds come out of, I mean, it doesn't matter in a company, but in a town, it matters which year's funds come out.
Yeah, it does.
Dana,
Yeah, it is a state statute that requires us to do it this way. What we're doing tonight is trying to get a lot of things done so that we won't have as many things to do at the end before the warrant goes to print. And if we vote to support this article with a 0 in it, what's our reason for supporting it?
Yeah,
We know it
Yeah.
has to be done.
I
If there's
agree.
no bills, the article gets indefinitely postponed. And we're gonna have in there, the finance committee recommends this article be accepted and adopted, and that X amount of dollars be used from free cash for this purpose, whatever, we don't have a number.
Yeah.
It just makes us look a little worse to say that, than to say, we don't have the information yet. We're just waiting,
Yeah.
that's all. It just puts this placeholder in the warrant until we get to a point where they say, this is all the bills, it adds up to $145, boom. I will support it, I will make the motion to reconsider and change it, no problem. But right now, what we're gonna print in the document that goes to every taxpayer, is something that says, we support this article, we don't know what it is.
Yeah, we have
or
no idea
it
how
is, but we
much.
support it.
Yeah,
That's my
Yeah.
biggest argument for the finance committee's appearances, that's all.
right.
So,
So, what's the motion?
so I
The
think,
motion, the motion which now has a second from Scott, the motion is to no recommendation pending further information.
yeah,
Yes.
That's
Otherwise
the
known
motion.
Let's
as.
just vote it.
yes, yeah.
So first we have to, if there's no additional comments,
So everybody in
we
favor of
we
the
have to
motion?
vote on
Yeah,
the motion that stands, which again is the motion to have no recommendation. That's the motion. So it's not support of the article, it is no
No
recommendation.
recommendation
No.
pending further
Yeah,
information.
Right.
That's right.
We need to affirm the no recommendation.
Yeah, right.
right.
Okay, so Scott, vote.
Aye,
So, okay, you're supporting no recommendation.
correct.
Dana,
I,
Michelle,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Aye, Mark.
Aye.
I guess you got seven.
You
seven is
vote your
enough.
conscience.
No, I'll
We spent more time on that than we did the whole capital.
I know, exactly.
It's gonna be just
Okay.
like town meeting.
But it makes a good point. We
but the
are the
actual number will
finance
be
committee.
more.
We can't randomly be voting on stuff and we don't know what the
How
number
many have you
is.
got left, Mr.
Like-
Chairman?
I couldn't sell the argument. We have a few left
Okay.
unless people are in a hurry to get out.
gonna turn
Adopt the
the
local
pump in.
comprehensive plan, G1.
All right, let me get back to my list.
Find my place again.
What's it called?
Yeah.
It is called Adopt the
What-
Local,
I mean, what's the number?
G1.
G.
G, governance, I guess is why they're using G, I assume, yes, governance,
Anybody read the plan?
cute.
I've
Okay.
got it here. I'm pulled it up from the
Well, it's gotta
packet,
be,
the select board packet.
What
Yep.
day?
it's gotta be now,
This was from
read.
Monday's select board meeting. So if you go to the minutes,
Can you
or the
read it?
agenda packet.
Can you read it?
Yeah. Do I want to?
Oh, it's
I
long.
don't know, what are you reading?
No, I just pulled up what you've got in front of you. I just
Oh,
went to
yeah.
the, so
Yeah.
I'm,
I mean,
yeah,
the
and I'm just following
The local
along.
comprehensive plan itself is on the
Oh,
web,
No, the
it's
article.
on the town web, the article. The article is to see if will vote to adopt the updated local comprehensive plan, which has been developed by the local planning committee, a copy of which is on file in town clerk's office and the town's website. The plan, if adopted by town meeting, would constitute
Out of order.
Harwich's local comprehensive plan pursuant to Mass General laws as defined in Section 9 of the Cape Cod Commission Act, and to act fully thereon.
I would,
Um,
for me, Mr. Chairman, I have to admit, I haven't read it.
The local comprehensive
Yeah,
plan.
and then the update. So
Yep.
I would like the opportunity to do that unless everybody else has read it. You guys read it?
Well, I
No.
guess, okay, I guess my question then is, are you gonna read it?
Yeah.
yes,
Well,
our
no,
homework.
because it's a big
No, no,
document,
you're right.
just so the people
It's only
understand. This,
225 pages.
yeah,
I'll
this,
even have recommendations against parts of it.
because as it does go on to explain, there is a package of plans that that the state and the town are expected to have, one of which is a local comprehensive plan, another of which is the housing production plan. And these various plans, which the town at times has been not very good about getting done, do have an impact on funding if you do not have an up-to-date within the regulations approved plan of, again, of these. There are at least 3 or 4 of them, one of which is this one. I guess the other ones are the open space and recreation plan and the draft hazard mitigation plan. There are the other 2 listed here, besides the housing production plan. And I think did the board vote on approving?
Yes,
They did,
they've got a, yep,
They voted
says-
to approve it or
Yep.
just to place it?
It's approved by and placed by, so they've got two checks. The whole thing is green. So anything marked green, they've voted, they've approved and placed.
Oh, they've placed and approved, and
Yes.
then approved.
Yeah,
They place it, so
Yes.
there's a lot of stuff placed but not yet voted on.
yeah. So this is both voted on as approved and
Okay.
voted on to place.
So the selectmen have
So the-
approved it.
Yeah, they have approved it, yep.
This is an article that is sponsored by the select board, and they have voted,
Yes.
they, essentially saying they have also voted to support the updated local comprehensive plan.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
I just by consensus ask that we hold it until our next meeting.
we can,
Yes.
we can do that.
Yep.
Does anybody have anything, any grievance with holding the article? All right,
your
I'm just gonna
homework.
mark it as held for the time being. But then you better come with your comments next
What
time.
number is it?
It is G1.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
G1.
I then have R3. This is kind of like bingo or something.
Yeah, R3. Bingo.
An easement on Hall's Path.
Okay.
This is also sponsored by the select board to, after apparently some considerable negotiations with the developer of Long Hall's Path, that they have reached an agreement to the developers to agree on the town having an easement across Hall's Path and a gate at a point on Hall's Path, a gate that apparently can be locked and kept
Any
locked.
funding with that?
There is
cost?
no funding with this, no.
Mr. Chairman, I would move accept and adopt. You can
Yes.
ask questions, don't you?
Do we have a
A
second?
second?
Okay, we have Peter and Mark A, accept and adopt. $0, as I see it anyway. This is, they have to get, they have the picture of the plan here, so they've already got it, the plan apparently.
Who holds the key?
Hmm?
Who
Yeah, that's a
holds
good
the key
question.
to the lock?
I don't know, it looks like the
That's a good
town, but
question.
I'm not sure if it mentioned somewhere in here as to who holds the key to the lock on the,
Michelle has it.
but anyway, Michelle has a
I
question.
am not prepared to vote on this evening.
Okay.
I'd like at least till next meeting to review that.
Okay, that, again, we have a motion on the floor. You can choose not to vote.
I didn't hear your comment.
I would like time to review it and think about it.
So you would abstain to the positive motion?
I could just
For more
abstain
information.
from voting?
Yeah,
Is that-
because you want more information.
Or you can vote nay,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not prepared to vote.
Yeah, you
Right,
can
so
abstain
it
for
could
more
be abstain.
information.
Okay.
Depending upon how the vote goes, you could be abstaining on the vote, choosing not to vote.
Okay.
Um, Because
If
we
four
do,
people did that, it wouldn't pass. and then
that's
you had to
correct.
vote.
You're absolutely right, Dana. But we do have a motion on the table. Okay, additional comments? Seeing none, we'll have a vote on approving for the town to acquire by gift, purchase, eminent domain, or otherwise a permanent easement for general municipal purposes, including without limitation the construction, installation, maintenance, repair, and replacement of a gate, including control thereof, and the right to maintain and replace plantings, and for any and all purposes incidental and related thereto, in, on, over, under, and near certain parcels of land located on Hall's Path, in the areas shown as gate easement and proposed location of plantings on a plan of land entitled Exhibit Plan dated 5/9/25, has been around, prepared by Cape and Islands Engineering of Mashpee, a copy of which is on file with the town clerk, as said plan may be amended, and to authorize the select board to enter into and execute any and all documents or instruments as may be necessary therefore and to act fully thereon. That is the full reading of the article itself. Okay. Gonna vote on the article. Scott,
Aye.
Dana,
No,
no?
yeah, no, yes, no, no.
You're a
Yes,
no.
no, yes.
Okay.
Nay.
So that was a no, okay.
Michelle,
I'm going to abstain.
okay. Peter,
Yes. Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Dan,
You abstained.
So, can I comment on
yeah,
that?
yeah,
Why I'm abstaining? So, I work at a school where I'm the business manager, and our property is near that
near
gate,
Hall's Path, yes.
is adjacent, and we actually own land on the
Along
other
Hall's-
side of
Hall's
Hall's
Path.
Path, and this gate is going to be next to our property, so I just feel like I need to abstain.
Okay,
I
that
think
makes
that's
sense.
appropriate, but-
Yeah.
Shouldn't we be considering a motion of no recommendation pending further information in honor of Michelle's request or concern?
Well,
That's not the motion on the table.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what we could do is, we're assuming, if we approve this, Michelle could come back in a week or two, or whenever, between now and the time that we're done with the warrant, and say, hey, I have some new information that, would shed some light on this, and, you know, we can move to reconsider, if we so choose.
I believe that I will be supporting this, but that's exactly what I need is more time,
Yeah.
because I'm somewhat familiar with this, and I've had discussions with the select board about this, as well as the people at my school. So, it's just, I need more time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna abstain in recognition of Michelle's concerns.
Okay? Tina,
I'm gonna vote aye.
okay, and I'm gonna vote aye.
So what's the count? We got
So
two
that's one,
abstentions.
I think that
Two.
is,
3,
Aye.
4,
2.
and I think Scott voted aye. So that's 5.
yes,
Yeah.
that's five,
So,
Wait,
hold on. What? 5, 1, 2, I believe.
Right, you got it. 5, 1, 2.
Okay. 5, 1,
Yeah.
2, with the N being Dana.
And I'd just say, Michelle, if you find something we should know about, please bring it back to us.
Yes.
I mean,
And
Okay.
the abstain being Michelle and Dan. Exactly.
So, can I, is discussion over? It is, right?
you know,
You can still comment. We haven't started other business yet. Any other business yet?
So, I don't know if this has to do with, I don't know if you guys have read that there's been this lawsuit because there's a developer who wants to develop land at the end of Hall's Path, behind our school. And I believe he was going to build a large development as well as put in houses, several houses. And this has been in the newspaper, and I believe he won this lawsuit at least to develop these 3 houses, to put these houses in. But I'm not sure that he has a thorough way to those houses because of Hall's Path, because the way that the land was zoned, the town actually owns a piece of property that abuts into the middle of the street, which prevents people from passing that area, which would not allow for a throughput from Hall's Path. It would have to come in from the other side.
and it sounds like we're putting a gate up with this
Correct.
article.
So I believe I support this. I believe I support that, but I wanna make sure that I'm
Yeah.
not confusing stories or,
right, you want more
And do
information.
you have a
Yeah.
copy of the plot plan or map that,
I will get that.
yeah,
Yeah, so literally like you drive down Hall's Path and the property comes out into the middle of the street, and I believe that is the town's property.
yeah.
And so that you couldn't have two-way traffic down that
Right.
road. And so this is, I believe this is what this is about.
Okay.
Do you know whether the school has a concern about the risk for student safety? because of the traffic patterns?
Absolutely, absolutely. But we, I haven't been involved in any of those discussions. I believe those are all happening between the town and this developer. So I haven't been privy to any of those discussions. I read about it.
And the real question is, if the gate goes in and limits that access going in that way, as you, I think you said, they have to then come in the other way.
I believe they'll have to come in the other way.
Which then, they wouldn't be owned by the school.
Nope,
Right, so I mean,
Mhm.
if that's what it is, then I think we'd be okay with this.
correct,
Yeah.
correct. So I think I do support it, but I want to make sure I
Okay.
understand it.
Yeah, that makes
The
sense.
And this is-
developer need to get a variance, a zoning variance for any reason?
I think the developer won the lawsuit, or if it was a lawsuit, I don't know exactly, I don't want to call it a lawsuit, it was a lawsuit, but I believe the developer obtained the right to build 3 houses, but not this larger retirement community.
So there was a lawsuit.
So I don't know.
There was a lawsuit,
Oh, okay, you got it up there?
against the planning board, Wise versus planning board.
So the planning board was saying that it wasn't zoned for these homes, I believe. And it was some nuance around zoning, I believe. And so this developer Wise sued the planning board and he won. So, but I still think this issue is separate from that. This has to do with the use of Hall's Path
Yeah.
as a passageway
Not the
and,
development.
yeah,
Right.
as
Right.
access.
And Dana's hand is up.
Right, the developers filed a lawsuit against the planning board challenging the denial of a subdivision plan application. As part of the settlement of this litigation, the developers agreed to grant an easement to the town to permit the town to maintain and keep in place a gate across Hall's Path to control the flow of traffic. This is all part of the article. By keeping the gate closed except under certain circumstances and to maintain plantings if necessary. The subdivision plan has since been approved by the planning board, the litigation has been settled, and the lawsuit has been dismissed. The grant of the easement from the developers to the town is part of the settlement agreement. So that's all part of the article, the explanation as part of the article.
Do you know whether the school as an abutter was approached about getting an input as to whether they support this or not?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know,
No.
but I know that it's prior to me, but I know they were briefed on what was going on. But,
So we need more information.
I
Yeah.
think a part of that settlement was that he got the right to build the 3 houses, I believe. Those 3 properties.
Well, it's moot because he's gotten clearance from the courts, so.
But I don't
And-
think he
and
can
from the
use
planning
Hall's
board.
Path.
The planning board has now approved his application. That's what the article says.
And Dana's hand was up.
Dana?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment, I voted no because, I go back to I haven't read it for a while, the language of the original taking that made it a public road. That was done at town meeting, and now the residents who live along that road wanna close off part of it. And I just wanna go back myself and read the original language and see what the original vote was to see how we approved it at town meeting. You know, if that road goes all the way to the property in question, you know, maybe I wanna close Chatham Road someday or something like that, you know, so it seems like a situation that could open up a Pandora's box either way. So I just wanted to go back myself and look at the original language and not go forward until I had that myself. Thank you.
Okay, moving along. Now have the bylaw articles, which I think hopefully we can just quickly vote. First one is the accessory, the ADU bylaw changes, basically striking out the existing bylaw essentially and putting in wording to conform to the current state law with regard to ADUs. And as Michael Ford would say, I'm certainly not going to read it here. So the motion is the article as written is to see if the town will vote to amend the code of the town zoning bylaw as it relates to single-family dwellings with an accessory dwelling unit, and the related table of use regulations, which are if I'm correctly reading the schedule that the town has been using, that we are now actually collapsing G2 and G3 into a single article. I think I could be wrong, but given that I have no G3 in the packet, in the group that I obtained, but the article I'm reading does go on to include the table, which is which I believe is what's actually referred to in G3. Okay. The article is to amend the use table and replace the entirety of the section of code 325-14T with new language in compliance with general laws, section 1A and 3, to allow accessory dwelling units to be built as of right in single-family residential zoning districts in accordance with the regulations under 760 CMR 71.00, protected use accessory dwelling units, and to act fully thereon.
So it expands the opportunity for ADUs potentially, is that what you're telling us?
I believe so. I think that the state's zoning act, and yeah, I think it's primarily being done simply to conform to what the state has already gone ahead and voted and put in place as a state zoning act, and to effectively conform the local ADU bylaw that we have to the state bylaw. Yes,
When was the state zoning act passed?
I don't know.
Oh,
I mean, I think they've been through, like us, I think they started earlier and have been through probably various versions of ADU statutes over time also.
do all towns get these, the ADU?
Well, again, there is a state ADU statute. Whether or not all towns have written local bylaws to conform to that, I would have no idea. I mean, having local ADU bylaws has in recent years become something of a priority. Again, part of the overall housing priority topic in the state, that ADUs have been talked about and acted on quite a lot in the state over time. But I would have no idea as to whether all 351 or whatever it is communities have done anything with their bylaws yet. Or just made a statement that they're conforming to the state or something.
No, my question was, does every town have the right to have an ADU per the state regulations, or is it just rural?
I don't know, I can't say that I have read the details of the state statute, so I don't know if it makes anything related to that
Got it.
specifically.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have a motion? Anybody want to make a motion?
Move to accept and adopt.
We have a move to accept and adopt,
I second that.
and we have a second, okay. So, accept and adopt from Scott and Mark A. Okay, so now we have a motion on the floor. Any discussion on the article to change the local ADU existing bylaw to conform to the current state statutes with regard to single-family residential zoning districts in accordance with the regulations related to protected use accessory dwelling units? Yes.
Does anybody know what the change was?
Well, there's quite a lot of
Yeah,
detail,
it's a
yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's a
there's-
very
there's
long.
2 pages of
Yeah.
strikeouts,
Yeah.
It
which is the whole
It's
section,
very
I don't know
long.
if anybody knew the,
anybody knew what the original to begin with.
Yeah.
Right, so it's easier to actually to just go to, if you want to read it, if you have an
Yeah, it's in
interest,
the
to go to the
packet
bottom of the second
On
page
Monday, yep.
and read the next 3 pages, including the table, which essentially puts in, into all of our zoning districts, the availability to have ADUs. I was a little surprised by what the old ADU, I think, size rules, both here and at the state at one time, I believe, not only had a square foot cap, but also had the additional wording, which seems to have been struck, that or half the size of the primary dwelling, whichever is smaller. But that does not appear anywhere in this, so I gather that means that the state regulation has also been loosened.
just the 1,000 square feet?
I would call it loosened anyway, to just shall not be larger than 1,000 square feet, yes. So again, this is sponsored by the select board to vote to make, I will again use the word conform, to conform our local ADU rules to the state rules. Additional comment? Now, seeing none, we'll have a vote. Then, Scott?
Aye.
Dana?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Peter?
Abstain.
Mark?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Have a
Tina?
conflict.
I,
And I will be an aye, so that is 7:01. Building, it continues that the attempts to develop more ADUs continues to be difficult for a variety of reasons, mostly having to do with either, down here, with either general financing or septic or both. That are being primarily still on septic, which then is a financial exercise. Because the ADUs still have to conform to all the other, including septic laws, essentially.
It's
Yeah.
cost prohibitive.
It's cost prohibitive,
Yeah.
that's what it ends up
Yeah.
frequently being. I mean, it's nice to see these ads for these companies that actually have made a business of building ADUs. But then they attach the price of these little tiny units in their ad on someplace, and it's like the price of a house for their
The house
you know,
used to be
800 square foot trailer that they're going to do.
all right, let's see.
What's next is,
Had to go to sleep pretty soon.
yeah,
No, we
amend
want to
the,
do these justice.
amend the general bylaw, amend general bylaw 32551 and 32551. One is I1 and one is B. See if the town will vote to amend the code of the town as it relates to these 2 sections, granting a special permit for a single-family dwelling with an accessory dwelling unit, and to act fully thereon, and further that the town clerk be authorized to make necessary and substantive corrections to numbering and lettering throughout to ensure consistency with the zoning bylaws. The explanation is simply to comply with Mass General Law 40A. It is recommended that we simply delete section 32551 I1 and 32551P. So the actual article is to simply strike everything. It's a deletion of 2 sections of our bylaws. Do I have a motion? Motion, anyone?
Move to accept and adopt. Second.
All right.
Who was the second? Dana, did you
He
second?
seconded.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, accept and adopt. Scott and Dana. Okay. Further discussion? Okay, a vote. Scott,
Aye.
Dana,
Aye.
Michelle,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
Tina,
Aye.
and I'm an aye.
All right.
Okay. Come on. Okay, the next one is G5, amend general bylaw 32516, tables of area and height and bulk regulations. To see if the town will vote to amend the code of the town as it relates to section 2516, table 3, height and bulk regulations for multifamily, and to act fully thereon. The explanation: by reducing the allowed height and number of stories for multifamily special permits in residential districts, new buildings in residential districts will be limited to the same requirements for maximum height and maximum number of stories. The table takes in all residential districts, the table that's attached takes all residential districts and reduces the maximum permitted height from 40 feet to 30 feet, and the maximum permitted stories from 3.5 to 2.5. In the commercial Highway 1 commercial village districts where multifamily is permitted by use special permit, it makes no change to the maximum permitted height and the maximum permitted number of stories. So the only change that this article is doing is to reduce the maximum height and maximum number of stories in all residential districts.
Okay.
Do I have a motion?
Okay, go
Yes. Do I have a motion? I'll move to accept and adopt then. Do I have a second?
I second.
Can I ask what the problem is with 40 feet?
I don't know what the problem is, but clearly someone decided that,
It's kind of a drastic change, dropping from 40 to 30.
yeah, it is.
May I comment, they don't really tell us why they're doing it. Is that because other buildings in those areas that are not multifamily are limited to 30 and 2.5? Like, why, it says,
I thought the Cape Cod Commission restricted the height of buildings.
new buildings will be limited to the same requirements. Same requirements as what?
That was my question.
It's
I
not
don't
complete.
understand it.
It's not complete.
It's one of the oldest, or
Yeah. We got Dana.
Dana?
The only thing I can add to that is that, the planning board lives and breathes this stuff for months before it ever gets to the point where it's an article. And they've had all the meetings and all that kind of stuff, so we can't really say, well, I don't know anything about it. So it's up to us if we wanna go find out about it, to go find out about it. If we need more time to do that, then let's hold it. But it's really up to us. All the information is in their minutes and in their meetings and all that kind of stuff, and, you're almost better off to find someone on the planning board to give you a thumbnail, just like we rely on 2 members of the capital outlay committee to give us the thumbnail of what they're doing. But they've spent months on these things, and it's really hard to question them because we don't know ourselves.
Michelle?
It's not that we questioning really, it's just, it's not thorough, so it doesn't limit it to the same requirements. Same requirements as what? So, I'm happy to reach out and ask for clarification, or is that something that you would do?
I think I'd rather vote it, and if individuals want to get more, that, as Dana says, that the minutes of the planning board are available, that they go online and go hunt it down. I don't think it's,
I've been hunting and I can't find it.
you've been hunting and you can't find it. Because
You
the,
can't find a 30-foot thing, or you can't?
I was searching on the paragraph and nothing really came up in news or,
Okay.
like the old code is popping up all over the place, but there's no story about justifying the change.
Okay.
So I think we need to talk to a person. So-
if somebody wants to find out more information, personally, I'm willing to vote it because I basically agree with Dana's point that the other departments in town have gone ahead and developed this article. It's not a financial article in terms of approval, and
Yep.
I don't feel the need, but if the proposed motion gets voted down, then we can start all over again with talking about it. And anyway, somebody can in fact go and research it to the extent that they want to. That's my own point of view, but
Okay.
the other conversation, comments? Okay, then there is a motion to accept and adopt this change to our bylaws, which is to amend the code as it relates to section 325-16, table 3, to make certain adjustments to the height and bulk regulations for multifamily and to act fully thereon. For multifamily special permits.
Only multifamily buildings?
Pardon?
Only multifamily buildings.
That's what it says,
Not
reducing the allowed height and number of stories for multifamily special permits
Okay, well,
in residential districts.
Yeah.
So it's trying to keep people from
yeah.
Building high, yeah.
being in, I mean, this kind of goes along with the expansion of ADUs, that we continue to try and make adjustments to the zoning rules
I get
to
it.
add more multifamily occupancy on what were single-family lots. And I think this is trying to keep the massing of those additions under a level of control in these areas. That's my perception anyway. I haven't researched it either. Okay, let's vote. Scott,
Aye.
motion is to approve. Dana,
No,
no. Michelle,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
Tina.
Aye.
Okay, and I'm an aye, so that is 7-1-0.
Do we know if that one was voted by the select board?
I don't think
Based-
they've been voted yet.
Yeah, based on their thing in their packet, this whole planning section, they haven't taken a position on, from what I can tell. They voted to put it on, but they haven't actually voted to approve.
Yeah, I think they got as far as,
Yeah.
I think they just got as far as the CPC articles,
Right.
Wendy.
Yeah.
And that was challenging enough. They did, as a matter of, I'm not sure that we'll see if we get to it, a matter of comment, that they did vote against, they voted marginally split, but against the Housing Institute funding. They voted, I believe, unanimously against both of the articles funding the Chatham Penrose projects.
Against?
Against, yeah. Okay. G6, amend general law bylaw non-conforming structures and use, to see if the town will vote to amend the code to remove 325-54A5E relating to replacement of non-conforming structures and to act fully thereon, and further that the town clerk be authorized to make substantive corrections, non-substantive corrections, rather. Okay.
I move accept and adopt.
Yeah, I'll second.
What this says is the explanation in 325A5E is in conflict with general law, chapter 40A, and so it basically deletes it. I'm sorry, Peter made the amendment,
No, I mean, accept and adopt.
accept and adopt,
And I second.
and this is Peter and Tina.
Yeah, I think these are just technical from what I can tell. Yeah, all right.
Okay, any comment on this article? Seeing none, we'll vote. Scott,
Aye.
Dana,
Aye.
Michelle,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
Tina,
Aye.
and okay. Amend the general bylaw 32520, stories for human use or occupation, or occupation. I think there's a wording problem, but I'm not sure, maybe I'm wrong. I don't claim to, no, they use occupation again. To see if the town will vote to amend the code 32520 as it relates to stories for human use or occupation. I guess that's a word. To,
Like fairy tales?
I mean, I would have thought, I would have thought occupancy, if they're talking about people being in the building, but oh well, and to act fully thereon, sponsored by the select board. The explanation is to allow habitable spaces within residential dwellings to comply with the state building code and the state environmental code Title V. What it does is, we have section 32520, stories for human use or occupation, and it strikes out all but the first sentence of that and just leaves in reference to table 3, which is not part of the article, maximum permitted height, parentheses, stories, in no case may any building used for hotel or motel use exceed 50 feet in height, nor contain more than 4 levels for human occupation. So it's a limitation on hotels and motels in terms of their height, which already exists. It just deletes the rest of the article, the section.
The deleted part affects single-family residences.
Right. So it limits it to just hotels and motels.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Do I have a motion?
Something about.
I
Accept and
second.
adopt?
I second.
We did. We got back. Okay.
The title, stories for human.
Mark. Okay, any conversation? Seeing none, we'll vote. Scott?
Aye.
Dana?
No.
No. Michelle?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
Tina?
Aye.
And I'm an aye, so that is 7-1-0.
The dog voted.
Yeah, and there's a dog voting
Dog
now.
voted. He barked.
So that's our ninth member is here. Is that Mark Peterson?
So the,
I have a question.
the dog can live on
It's a
the
beautiful
non-human floor.
dog. It's a beautiful dog.
It is.
It's a husky? Scott, is that a hut?
One more bylaw. This
I have a
is,
question
okay,
about the last one.
yes.
You say yes?
So, just so I understand, so the other, this other one that we just voted on, where it limited it to 40 feet.
It limited multi-family dwellings in a
Versus-
Okay.
residential
The other was
district.
Oh, so
It's more
hotels can go
motel.
to 50 feet.
Yeah, because
This
it
is for
serves a different purpose.
hotels
Yeah.
and motels in whatever districts that
Yeah.
that allow for hotels
it.
and motels.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
I think that's the end. Are we at the
All right,
end?
I got one more
one
general
more.
bylaw.
You were in
Okay.
the south.
Yeah, one more general bylaw. This is the Harwich Affordable Housing Trust. This is the changes being proposed. To see if the town will vote to amend the code of the town of Harwich, section 140 of Harwich Affordable Housing Trust by inserting the underlined text and deleting the strikeout text. What they're doing is, and the strikeouts are all about changing the wording of Board of Selectmen to Select Board
Okay.
as
that's easy
being a
enough.
conforming thing.
What a surprise.
Well, we're slowly getting around to these kind of things, but but there is a change in the makeup, being proposed in the makeup of the trust. That the select board shall appoint 6, no longer 5, instead of 5, delete, 6 trustees, one of whom shall be the town administrator or the designee, acting as a non-voting ex
Oh, okay.
officio member. and one of whom shall be a member of the select board. So we have the town administrator and a member of the select board. The remaining trustees shall be appointed by the select board for 2-year staggered terms. And then it goes through determination of filling vacancies. In the case of a vacancy in the select board seat, how the appointment goes along, I'm not sure people's level of interest, and in the event of a vacancy in a select board appointed trustee, how the vacancy gets filled. It's sort of this 30-day stuff.
It sounds like it's trying to.
The only other changes are the conforming of Board of Selectmen to Select Board.
It sounds like it's trying to fix what the previous town administrator was doing, which is running roughshod over there.
I believe that's exactly what it's trying to deal with, is what we ran into with the big brouhaha that happened a few number of months ago with regard to the makeup of the trust.
That was accept and adopt already.
Okay, so we have an accept and adopt. Mark,
I second.
any comment? I have a feeling that a town meeting, with given those petition articles, where there'll be lots of talk about the Affordable Housing Trust, but that's not on this article.
Depends on the rank, where it shows up.
Say, seeing no, and as there was Monday night at the select board meeting, but anyway, seeing no more comment, we will vote. Scott?
Aye.
Dana?
Aye.
Michelle?
Bye.
Peter?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
And Tina?
Aye.
And I'm 8-0. Okay. Now we can, I guess, decide whether, the only other thing I had here to potentially deal with, if people want to or not, was I got a second draft, which I think is the one that council has been through and went to the select board, of the community preservation items, which we have already voted, almost all of, but not all of. And whether or not we want to take the time tonight to go through those reconciling items, or would people want to do it on their own, or I sent them out, I believe, to everybody.
Sent them out today?
Pardon?
You sent them out today?
I think they may have gone out as later today. I'm
Yeah,
not sure
might
when I
need
sent
more
them out.
Let's hold until next week.
Yeah, let's do, to give them
Okay.
justice.
What I'll say is that in general, there were any of the 12 articles, there were some that had no change. There were some that literally had a couple of wording, where to put wording that looks like council changes. Then there were probably 4 that do have some, I'll call it substantive, not the dollar amounts, but more substantive changes. Very few, but a few. Worth, I think, people going through. I suppose the only other related question would be the 2 that we didn't vote on before. No, oh, wait a minute, 3 that we didn't vote on before, as to whether we wanted to bring them up. I sent you, I think, a response. Part of the response I got on the administrative $50,000.
Yes, basically, we spend it.
Separately, I asked the finance director for the printout of this past year's use.
And
It was 100% the payroll for their secretary.
but how much is that?
So it left over $48,000 of the $50,000 still in there. The one thing that I will make a point of, however, is that is the one CPC article that does not roll. It dies at the end of the year. It's like an appropriation. So it is not an art.
Spent funds going to.
You can't spend the funds going forward. It goes to 0 at the end
Yeah.
of the year. So they do in fact have to ask for an allotment and see where it goes each year. Do people want to go ahead and, we did not vote that before. Do we want
Who accept and adopt?
to?
That's the administrative fees for.
Yes, the $50,000 administrative fees.
Accept and adopt.
Which one is that?
That's number 2, I believe. Number 2, CPC 2.
The $50,000 one, Dana?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Accept and adopt. Will you give me a second,
I
Mark?
second.
Mark? Does anybody want to talk about that anymore? I think the important point really is that it dies each year. It's an
Okay.
annual appropriation, which was confirmed both by David Nixon and my memory from when I was on it. that it's kind of interesting that
No,
way.
I would hope as we get better at doing all this stuff financially as a town, and our reserve account is what it needs to be, that they would skinny that down to something more like our budget, which we have to pay our, secretarial help for. And if they needed some legal thing that came up, would come for reserve
Yeah.
fund transfer.
I mean, we did find that back when Dan and I were on, I think what we were finding, correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, was that occasionally it would be used for very front-end real estate project, kind of, some title work, some stuff like that, the admin money. But anyway, okay, we have a motion, we have a second. No more conversation, we'll vote. Scott, this is the CPC admin $50,000 article.
Yep, got it, aye.
Aye. Dana?
No,
No. Michelle?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Tina?
I,
And I am an aye, so that is again 7-1-0 with Dana as a no.
I hate to break a trend,
That's okay.
Yeah, no problem.
I've been voting
I have a
now
question.
for a long time.
Yeah,
So when someone votes nay,
yeah.
can we know why? Or is that part of the discussion?
That's part of the
or-
discussion.
yeah.
They-
So, but what if we don't know how they're voting?
That's true. They don't have to
Tell you
Right.
why.
That's right, they don't have to tell you anything. Same thing is true in town meeting, it's true of the select board, there's no,
If it's something
obligation.
that we talk about and debate, I'll include it in the reason the finance committee supported. I might put a minority sentence in there for why people opposed it, to have that in there. And when I send the draft out each time, it's always possible for anybody to say, I'd like this included, But I can guarantee you that if somebody doesn't like a one vote no, they'll ask at town meeting, why did you vote no on that?
right, it
Yeah.
had,
And if you're the one that voted no, you better have an answer as to why you voted no, which I will. And I know I'm not gonna sway the whole group with my answers, so I just voted no. But the other times when it's a contentious thing and we have a close vote, I'll usually include that kind of stuff inside our reason to support it.
Yeah, the only reason I ask that, Dana, is because I say to myself, is there something he knows or he's seen or, his perspective that would somehow inform me? That's all.
hopefully that would be
Yeah,
contributed in the
because-
discussion.
discussion.
That would be the point of having the discussion, is to
Yeah,
discuss.
yeah.
Right off the bat,
The,
I voted no 10 years ago, 20 years ago, whenever it was, and I've been voting no ever since.
I think the other thing is, it is more, to what Dana's saying, is that it's more likely there might be some comment included if it's a close vote. And that's true at, I think, all the committees, that if they're like 4-3 or, that kind of thing with a group, then it looks like there's really an issue that's being kind of fought over. But anyway, the only other question I have, because this came up, again, Monday night it was voted, and there is now quite a lot of history going on. The other two articles we chose not to vote on, as I remember, were the two articles to vote money for the Penrose projects in Chatham. The select board voted against both of them on Monday night. I believe they voted unanimously against both of them Monday night. I believe, although I'm not sure, that there were different arguments made, one of which was to keep the money, simply to keep the money in town, one of which was making the point that the Chatham Select Board did in fact vote against both those articles. Also, the Orleans CPC voted against both those articles. So, and I've seen in this week's Chronicle that one of them, the Meeting House article, is now looks like it's in trouble. It's got various other issues going on that are making it questionable whether it's got other problems. We chose not to vote. Do people still want to hold on that or go ahead and vote on those two articles tonight?
I say hold unless, I don't know.
It'll be a quick
There's no
thing, it'll be a
positive-
quick
there's
thing
no
to do
positive
next week.
motion.
Yeah,
Do I have, yeah, right, do I have a positive motion?
There's no positive motion, I'll make one to IPP.
Do I have a positive motion on either? I think those are CCP, the CPC Articles 5 and 6, I believe is what they are. Any positive motion? Seeing no positive motion. Dana, do you want to make a motion?
I move that we indefinitely postpone Articles
I think there's,
CPC 5 and CPC 6.
do I have a second?
I second.
IP, CPC 5 and 6. Any further conversation on those? Okay, seeing none, we'll take a vote. Scott?
Aye, to indefinitely postpone.
Exactly. Dana?
Aye, what he said.
Oh, who seconded Dana's? Who
I
seconded?
second it.
oh, Mark did.
Mark did. Okay, that was Dana and Mark, A. Okay. So we had 2 ayes. Michelle,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
Aye.
and I'm gonna vote aye also. Okay, I think that gives us votes on all of the CPC articles, I believe. And you, people can do their own.
Do we actually vote the third Penrose one?
There are only 2 Penrose ones.
On the list we had, we were working with last week, if I could just point this out. There was a Penrose Chatham Main Street on the list.
Yep.
There was a Penrose Queen Anne Road, and there's a Penrose Meeting House Road in Chatham.
I don't see the Queen Anne Road one.
Look
It's
at the
not on the
minutes.
list.
This one says CBC 5, I'm going by last week's list. Penrose Queen Anne Road.
That is not on my list and was not on the list that the select board took up
Okay,
Monday.
that's fine if it's not there.
The Affordable Housing Trust one, however, was, the contribution was discussed considerably. Okay, let's go with that anyway for the time being. I will again print out the current version, I guess, and make sure, but I believe that I was checking these off as they were voting Monday night.
And I will just note, Judy's minutes are excellent. Like she
She's
she
wonderful.
captured everything. So there, if you have a question on what we did, go right back in these minutes.
Well, she's also good about not overdoing. She's good about
Yeah, it's
just
just
doing
enough.
minutes,
Yeah.
like.
Salient
what
points.
Just
minutes
enough.
done.
Yep.
That's exactly right.
Bob, when do we meet next?
Well, that's the last thing, and then we can adjourn.
okay.
Yeah.
I think is to decide, based upon what we know and what we haven't gotten from the town and the select board, as to right now, I have only scheduled meetings for the next 2 Thursdays. That's all that we have on somebody's list.
So
They're
we're meeting
they're
next
both
Thursday.
scheduled at the community, they're both at the community center for both Thursdays, but I don't know, one, is Thursday the right time, but 2, we start getting shortened up on, with the 48-hour thing on when we can get a meeting posted and still make our due dates. So, does anybody have any suggestions? I know Peter's been through this a lot.
Well, no, I think we go with next Thursday and see where we are.
And see
Yeah.
and
We
leave
made
it.
a lot of progress tonight. I mean, we
Yeah.
wrote a lot of stuff.
That's why I wanted to get through whatever I
Yeah.
had and push it along.
Yeah.
We're getting down to budgets pretty soon.
Yeah,
I think, and by doing the capital, by taking a shot at the
Yeah, yeah.
capital,
yeah.
that's,
And will we meet here or?
no,
Community center
community center.
for the next
Yes.
ones.
No, the charter people would
Let's try
kick
that
us
and
out
see
if we
what we
were
do.
here.
I see
Okay,
34 left,
What's that?
34 articles left.
I hope not, once you post everything we just did.
Right, unless I missed a meeting, did we vote the petition ones?
Yeah,
No, we did not.
Well, some of them.
we did some
we-
of them.
We're the
A
only,
couple of the repeats.
the only. The only
I don't
petition
have the
articles
last
we
one.
voted, as I mentioned to you in what I wrote you, Dana, we only voted the ones that were identical we were represented to us as identical for past history. Otherwise, we said we were waiting until council. But
Yeah,
but
okay,
we,
yeah, I did see that, yes.
but we also discussed them to the point of saying we weren't gonna discuss them again. Once we got final wording, we'd vote the final wording.
Okay,
Yeah, and Dana, just review Judy's minutes, because she got everything in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do believe the petition articles are on next Monday's select board meeting, I believe,
I-
Okay.
which hopefully means they're final,
So there are how many petition articles?
12,
12?
yeah.
So that would take your list down to how many, Dana? 20-something?
12 are out of the loop, then that gets us to 22.
That's more like it. It's mostly in that first section, the budget, the
And a lot of
schools.
it's budgeting.
Yep. Getting a final sources and uses, something that actually
Yeah,
works.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so
To adjourn.
then we'll plan on next Thursday, and I won't have done anything else over at the community center
He just moved.
to adjourn. Um,
Second.
Second, vote with your feet, we're adjourned. Thank you all very much
Thank
for
you. 8:30, right on the dot.
plugging our way through this.